We took it step by step. Each lap we went down, we dropped like 0.1, 0.2 to see other competitors where they are. And the last lap we put all flat out to get the best time. The team did an excellent job, my driver, my throttle man, all the guys who are with us, our team, Fazza, His Highness, we give this win to him. The most important part is to be in the top with the points for the World Series.
We are in second place in the championship overall. We try to maintain this position. Today we fight really hard and coming to be lap after lap and go hard to go in the second position.
Good morning everybody and welcome to Lake Shootout for the second qualifying session of the Romanian Grand Prix. Remember, qualifying is made up of two sessions this morning. A 1 hour session to route out the 4 slowest boats, with the 3 quickest going on to a shootout that will last 20 minutes. I don't know about you, but I am ready to take a front seat for what is going to be a great qualifying session. Good morning everybody and welcome to the second pole position qualifying session of the Romanian Grand Prix. It's a warm, sweaty but serene day here on Lake Shootout as we head into slightly different conditions compared to yesterday, but there is a full day of racing ahead of you. Thank you very much for joining us at home, and I'm not on my own here in the commentary booth. I am guided by the rudder that is John. How you doing, mate? Good morning.
Good morning, Stu. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good.
You excited for another spectacular day of racing?
I am. Yesterday was a great advert for the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship, and it's almost like all of my racing prayers have been answered, because today the conditions out there on the lake are definitely different compared to yesterday. But before we go through the conditions, before we go through a reminder of the course and a reminder of the standings after yesterday, maybe just a reminder of how the qualifying process works for everybody at home, John.
So the pole position session for today will have a bit of a different kind of procedure to the ones in the Italian GP in Basilicata and Fiumicino. There will be 2 separate sessions. The first 1 hour duration, no lap limitation, with a propeller change, 1 propeller change allowed. At the end of session 1, the last 4 boats will start in order at the last gate. So basically session 1 defines the last individuals. Session 2, before session 2, we'll have a 20-minute break. And then session 2, 20 minutes duration, no lap limitation, no propeller changes. And yeah, that will define the fastest of the lot.
Yeah, it really is it's a great qualifying format. The XCAT has a number of qualifying formats that have been ratified by the UIM, the governing body, which means we can alter the qualifying that we choose or that gets used based on where we are and how we think would be best for the competition. And so yeah, we're using format 2. Yesterday we saw some interesting strategic decisions during qualifying. Some paid off, some didn't, but we also had a number of the XCATs suffering from mechanical issues as well. Now, whilst these machines are robust and they are, if you were to go sailing day to day, you wouldn't notice these problems, but these are highly tuned racing machines, and so it's really important that the engines and the crews run at optimum capacity. And XCAT was one of those teams that were suffering from mechanical issues yesterday, both in qualifying and during the race as well. But they managed to come good, didn't they, John?
Indeed, helmed by Sebastian. They did have some issues with, I believe it was the engine, the fuel engine. There was water leaking into the actual machinery.
Yeah. So they completely replaced all the fuel filters yesterday and the fuel lines, because there was water getting in to the fueling system, which, as you can imagine, did not do them any favours whatsoever. But We caught up with Sebastian yesterday evening and the team manager Josephine, and really happy with their race performance yesterday. Once they managed to get out there, they were really pushing for a podium in the end, and they were really excited and really happy with being able to turn that around and replace and repair the mechanical issues that they had, and have such a super strong race as well. And we've just heard the whistle for green flag, which means the crews have to get to their boats and set off for the second qualifying of the Romanian Grand Prix here on Lake Suceava in the city of Constanța.
Indeed, so the green flag basically signifies, well, it's basically the pace cap boat calling everyone out. So they'll leave the pontoon kind of assemble in the muster area or the milling area, and then team managers will call in for permission to actually enter for a timed lap.
Yeah, so they'll go out and they will have a little muster, and then they will decide when and how to do their timed laps. It's an interesting setup because we've got 60 minutes of qualifying here, no limit on the number of laps that can be completed, but there are still a huge number of factors that can influence how successful each of the crews are during this qualifying factor. I mean, nonetheless, the pressure comes from the jeopardy that if you don't reach or set a time that allows you to finish in the top three, then you don't move forward to qualifying 2, which is a 20-minute session, and that then decides where you will be in the race later on this afternoon. So we've got race penciled in for 3:30, 15:30 local time here in Romania, and we're really looking forward to it. And as I look out of our commentary booth window here, I can see that the lake is not serene, and you can actually see it on your screens as well. You can see that there's more waves, and the water is certainly more disturbed than it was yesterday. And I was chatting to one of the guys that looks at the weather forecast and deals with the elements, and he has suggested that it's actually going to get worse for the race, which means it makes it even harder for us to call, doesn't it?
Indeed. Obviously, teams are allowed to change their propeller, so depending on if the conditions do get worse, they could choose to come in and change that to be a little bit more applicable to those conditions, a bit more, basically lift the hull a little bit further up rather than being flat on the surface.
Yeah, and a flat boat is a happy boat usually, depending on what's going on. But as you say, if the boats are too flat, going across the swells and some of the smaller waves, then that actually will impact performance. And there are boats, for example, Team GB is the biggest boat here. It's the longest, it's the heaviest. Boats like that, XCATs like that, can ride those waves really easily. They're really competitive in those conditions. But then boats like Faza, the current championship leaders, winners yesterday and pole sitters yesterday. Faza is the smallest boat here, 2 meters smaller than some of the other boats, and one of the lightest boats as well, which makes them great in flat conditions, in calm conditions, either offshore or onshore. But the reality is when it gets a little bit choppier, as we saw in the first few races of this 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship in Fiumicino, just outside of Rome, where the conditions were pretty choppy. The boat of Faza and some of the other boats like Q8 Oils, they really struggled to put their power down.
Indeed, and boats like 222 Offshore and TGB, as you mentioned, were far more successful.
Yeah.
That said, just a quick reminder for pole position. Yesterday, we had Faza clocking in the fastest lap in both session 1 and session 2. 222 Offshore in second position. They had a bit of a rough time during the actual race. Did manage to get the lead on Faza, but then encountered some mechanical issues, didn't they?
They did. It was not great for them, but these things happen.
Gutting for Giovanni and Darren.
Yeah.
HPI Racing Team in third, Team GB in fourth. Q8 Oils in 5th, Pastamato in 6th, and SweetCat in 7th. Obviously, they also encountered some mechanicals, but managed to bring it out. Bring out the bag in the race.
yeah. They called it the SweetCat out of the bag during the race time. It was as you say, just to touch on 222 offshore there, like second in qualifying with a great performance. They were pushing Faza all the way in the race yesterday. They were actually in the lead, and then it was their oil pump and oil system that gave up the ghost, and that was that. But SweetCat are out there. They look fast. As I said, we caught up with Sebastian Seba and Josephine, who's the team manager, yesterday in the evening after dinner, and had a chat. They were very enthusiastic about about how they turned around their mechanical issues yesterday, and the first test of how successful that will be in a qualifying condition will be this morning. So they finished 4th yesterday in the race after a really strong performance, and they'll be hoping for a really strong qualifying session. So we stick here with SweetCat as they go around the top of the course, and they're looking really strong there, John.
Indeed. Team GB will be clocking in the first timed lap for this session, followed by HPI. And then, as you mentioned, Team SweetCat, the rest of the boats are yet to enter their first timed lap.
Yeah. So basically what happens is the boats enter the race course through the designated joining point, which is heading out of the pontoon at around about 6 knots, going around the top buoy. They then join the course. They then do a sighting lap so that they come through the timing buoys at pace, at which point the clock starts and we start to record their qualifying lap time. And as you say, Team GB have decided to go out there first without the water being disturbed. So we had Faza clocking in a winning time at 2:26 yesterday. So we'll use that as the benchmark to see what the conditions are. But Team GB are about to come past the timing bell now, and they have put in a 2:37. So that was obviously them just getting ready to go.
Didn't manage to. They were faster yesterday. They clocked in their fastest lap. They managed to clock in with 2 minutes and 32 seconds and 500ths of a second. Probably just getting Scott and Martin getting all limber in the limbered up inside the cockpit.
Kind of XCAT stretching session, and heading out there. So SweetCat are about to come across the timing buoys, and we'll get a truer understanding of where they are. Obviously, yesterday they had a problem. 3 minutes 10 was their best in qualifying yesterday, and as they come across,
HPI Racing Team with 3 minutes and 4 seconds,
and SweetCat with 2:34. So they are starting to really show what they're made of. Obviously, we expect much faster times as we go through this first qualifying session of the second day of the 2023 Romanian Grand Prix, but already a much better performance from SweetCat in qualifying compared to yesterday. No real sign of those mechanical issues rearing their horrible heads once again.
Exactly, and it seems they might be going in for a second consecutive timed lap.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to carry the momentum through, which is great. I mean, the boat, that XCAT really does look much more planted. Obviously, I've just given it the commentator's curse there. As I said, that it's starting to find a bit of a swell, which is not great. But we now have Faza starting their timed lap. So they are going to enter the fray as we stick with SweetCat here. Sebastian and Eric in the cockpit there, and Eric joining the crew for this weekend. It's the first time that they have raced together in this class. But Eric, a very experienced Norwegian pilot there. He's calm, confident, and gigantic. He's a sturdy fellow, but you've got to have pretty big talent. You didn't think I was going to say there, did you? To really take on the course, but they're doing fantastically well. So let's see how they do as we watch Team GB crossing our timing buoys there.
managed to shave off a little bit, but only a couple of hundredths of a second.
Yeah.
Not looking incredibly fast at this point in time.
No, and Team GB's boat really is one for the races. It's got incredible race pace, and compared to qualifying, to be honest with you, Team GB have had a torrid time qualifying in this 2023 championship so far. They didn't get out to qualify at all in Fiumicino. In Basilicata, they didn't qualify well at all because of mechanical issues. But despite that, and here as well, yesterday they didn't qualify particularly well either. But when it comes to crunch time, when it comes to the races, Scott and Martin really do pull it out of the bag together with their team manager Shelley, because the team managers do an awful lot from a strategic and tactical view when it comes to the race, particularly because of the 2 long laps that each team is required to take during the course of a race. It's definitely a key part of what happens on shore as well as in the boats.
I'm almost starting to think that it might be almost a tactical decision on behalf of Team GB, because, as you mentioned, qualifying not so well, but they managed to perform a lot better during the actual races. I don't know if it's a matter of being in the back of the pack, disturbing the water a little bit, and then the boat can perform a little bit better.
Possibly, that's an interesting take on it. But back to qualifying, Faza, who have been running away with it so far, are about to cross the timing boys, and Faza clock a time of 2:13 300th of a second there. So Faza still 4 seconds shy of their winning time yesterday, but that is their first time lap. So I reckon they're getting their eyeballs in.
Do you think it's that, or do you think it's the conditions slightly affecting adding another 4 seconds onto their fast lap from yesterday?
I think the conditions certainly play a part. It's definitely more disturbed out there than it was yesterday. For example, we're starting to feel a breeze through our commentary booth, which is traditionally really rather warm.
It's most welcome.
Yeah, it's definitely cooling us. But there we see a shot of the team managers who are vital to the strategy. So we've got Faza and Swicat next to each other there, kind of doing the do. Faza look like they've taken their foot off the gas a little bit. Actually, you can see Faza there jumping at slow speeds over the swell as they head back to the muster area, and that is that's interesting.
You know what? Team GB just crossed the timing booth, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, getting progressively slower.
Yeah, I wonder if they're experimenting with course positioning. So where they were struggling with the final corner, Foxtrot boys, Foxtrot 1, Foxtrot 2, they're losing 3 seconds around there. So maybe they're just deciding what the best angle of attack is. As we see HPI Racing cross the line, and they do not better their time. So they're still currently second in the standings for pole position. They finished on the podium yesterday in second position, and they come into this weekend wanting and needing a good performance as we hit the midpoint of this 2023 XCAT Championship. We're just watching Swicat, who again have not bettered their time, but there's still an awful long time to go. We've got 45 minutes left of this first of a double header of qualifying. So we've got Q1, where we will see the four slowest boats lose out at the end of this session, with the 3 quickest heading into the Q2 session, which will be a 20-minute session. But we have a 10-minute break between those sessions, so that will be when we move on. And we're just seeing, you won't be able to see it on your laptops, phones or televisions at home, but we're just seeing 222 Offshore being dropped into the water. That is our missing boat. So 222 Offshore, after their mechanical issue yesterday in the race, they had an oil leak issue, meaning that the engines lost pressure, and that created all sorts of issues with superchargers and one thing and the other. Don't know if I'm allowed to tell people that, but here we are. Too late, it's gone out live. And 222 Offshore will join the party shortly, as Pastor Mato cross the line for their timed lap at 2 minute 40, John.
Yeah, very, very interesting session this is compared to the session yesterday morning. All the teams are looking slower than yesterday. Obviously, we still have another 45 minutes for Q1. So, yeah, probably not as warmed up as they would like.
No. And there we see 222 offshore. That's Giovanni just getting ready, having a last look at what he needs to do, and jumping into the cockpit there. Distinguishable by Rocco Barocco, the Italian fashion house, who have very kindly partnered with 222 Offshore for this season of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. It's not my job to tell you to go and check them out, but it's definitely well worth it. It's why they look so good on shore, because they've partnered with the fashion house, so fair play. But 222 Offshore, they qualified yesterday in second position. Off the line in the race, they were beating Faza, and then they had that mechanical issue to leave them as a DNF. So we'll see if they can go one better today and finish the race as we watch HPI Racing coming around the Boy Alpha 1. And SweatCat crossing the line as well, still just trying to find that elusive faster time, but it's proving that the conditions aren't necessarily exactly what they would have thought they may have been. Now remember, there is a propeller change that is allowed as part of this qualifying session, so we will see undoubtedly in the next 5 to 10 minutes the XCATs come back in to potentially swap their propeller out, so they'll come back to the jetty, come back to the pontoon. The crane will lift the boat about a metre out of the water. The support teams will then twist the boat around, and they will change their propellers on both of those ROS Mercury racing engines, much like a tyre change in racing on land. We will see a propeller change to potentially, actually in these conditions, possibly increase the rake, giving it slightly more manoeuvrability, slightly more drag in reality, slightly more friction, but it does mean that you can move the boat in a slightly more malleable way. Pastor Mato now going past the timing boy. Slightly better, look at that.
Yeah, in fourth position. So far we have Faza in first place with the fastest lap. HPI Racing Team hot on their heels, just under a second difference. SweatCat in third, Pasta Mato in fourth, majorly improving from yesterday. QA Oils in fifth. They also managed to shave off some time from their previous laps. Team GB last but definitely not least, but not clocking in very fast times. Shelley didn't look very impressed in that shot.
No, and Team GB have just come back in and they're making their way to the crane now, so I suspect we are in the process of seeing a propeller change for Team GB, which makes sense, and we will see what impact that has on their performance in the next half of this first qualifying session, and see if they can do one better than they did yesterday by making it into the top three and therefore into the shootout for pole position. And HPR Racing, they are really on it. They are just crossing the timing buoy now, and a marginal change, still sat in second position, currently just shy 0.9 of a second behind Faza. I think Faza have more to give, to be honest, but we will see. We're seeing SweatCat now coming in for their propeller change potentially, so they are heading towards their support team. But 222 Offshore have now entered the fray. They finished second yesterday in the qualifying session, but of course didn't finish the race, so there's been quite a lot of work going on that boat over the last kind of 24 hours or so, just to make it kind of seaworthy for today, or lake-worthy even, because we are on Lake Sitchon.
It was a big shame, Stu, because obviously they had some issues in the Italian GP as well. It seemed like they didn't manage to rectify it permanently, but they did give Faza a run for their money at the start of race one yesterday, which made everything very exciting. So hopefully, they'll be up the ranks in when it comes to pole, and then we'll have some good fights in race 2 between Faza and 222 Offshore again.
Yeah, that would be great. As Pastor across the line, marginal. Yeah. So I think the next team we're going to see come in, I imagine, is going to be Pastor, to be honest. I think they're going to do maybe one more hot lap and then come in for a propeller change and see how they go. But yeah, it'll be good to see a battle at the front. We saw a battle for second and third and fourth yesterday, which was tremendous, between HPI, Team GB and XCAT. As you say, 222 Offshore were leading the race until their mechanical failure yesterday. So it's all open. It's never over till it's over with the XCAT world of racing. So we shall see how they go. And I'm just looking over to my right-hand side, which is the northern side of Lake Sucho, and I can see a gathering of dark clouds, John, which might mean we are in for a bit of changeable weather, which could be interesting. At the least, it could mean a little bit of wind. At the most, rain, which I'll be honest, I could do with.
For sure. I know added a layer of excitement to the race. The lake yesterday was flat as, so I'm looking forward to some more bumps.
Flat as. That is a technical maritime term, ladies and gentlemen at home. Flat as a pancake. Thank you very much. And that's 222 Offshore starting their quick lap now. So they took a very leisurely stroll around the circuit. Yesterday they came in at 2 minutes and 28 seconds, give or take. They were around about a second and a half, 2 seconds behind Faza in the end. And so they will be hoping to, at the very least, match that performance, which at current standing would put them top of this qualifying tree. But they're going to want to get their lap in now and see how we go. There's the team from Bastamato, boat number 22. We're now seeing Faza coming across the timing line. Let's see how Faza do. They are getting ready
for their time lap.
Absolutely. So they've come across the timing line there, which means the stop clock starts.
Konselberg is past Amato, putting a little bit of brakes as they pass.
They've just decided it's not worth their effort, and they've got they got their strobe light on. I can't see. So each of these XCATs have got a very strong LED strobe light just at the back of the cockpit, akin to what you would find on the bottom of an aeroplane. And when that is on, it means that they are slowing down. And are going to come back in to the pontoon, and they are coming back in. So that was going to be for a change of propeller, I imagine. And all eyes on Faza. Faza are usually fastest. They've really come into this season with a really well-tuned boat. We saw in Fiumicino the first race of the year just outside of Roma in Italy. Don't know if you've heard of it, little small city, but I hear it's going to do big things. But Faza are, after that kind of wobble at the beginning, have really found their form. But look at that, you can see just how much the conditions have changed out there. Now Faza are the smallest boat here, they're the lightest boat here, and you can see where they are really struggling just a bit, I mean not a huge amount, and it's probably in direct contrast to yesterday. But we have 222 Offshore that have just gone across the timing buoy in front of us with a 2:29 and 400th of a second. Top spot at the moment, but Faza may well nick that spot back as boat number 3, as Nadir and Arif are about to take the final corner. And it's this ability to turn that really sets them apart. So they're heading towards the buoy there, and look at that, it is as if they are driving on tarmac there. That is incredible turning ability from the crew of Faza. But of course, the tighter the turn, it means that they can get on the power quicker. So they're now going down the home straight, and you can see in the background there just the clouds forming here in Constanza.
Very fast.
Super quick. And they have. Oh my word! That is close. That is close. They are in front of 222 offshore by less than 200ths of a second. I'm going to have to turn my mic off and have a swig of water because the excitement is giving me dry mouth.
So, whilst Stu takes a quick breather from all this excitement, we have Faza in first place, just nicked the first position at 2:29 and 200ths of a second. 222 offshore in second position, 2 minutes 29 seconds and 400ths of a second. HPI Racing Team in third, XCAT in fourth, Pasta Amato in fifth, QA Oils in sixth, and Team GB in seventh.
Wow, this is this is a qualifying session, obviously, but I say that with the upward inflection of excitement that it's so close at the moment that what that tells us, I'm going to put my professional hat back on, is that the conditions are bringing the field together. Faza haven't come in for a propeller change yet, so they've gone out relatively confident that their setup from yesterday would give them a good shot today. But to be top of the standings by just 1 point, less than, it is 200ths of a second between them and 222 offshore. So that tells us that 222 offshore have fixed their boat and that Faza might be being affected by the conditions. And we have 222 offshore now starting another hot lap. They have come screaming past us and the timing boy here. So it's almost like Faza and 222 offshore are racing each other already. There's no love lost between these two. Both boats carrying battle scars from their first race in Fiumicino. They're both looking, a little duffed up from their coming together in Fiumicino, aren't they?
Yeah, they're up for it, and that's what we want to see. Boat number 3, Faza, seems like they are going for just about. It looks like they're going to beat their time they have. Oh my god! So 2 minutes, 28 seconds, and 900ths of a second.
Cool. Okay, so
they're putting on the pressure on 222 offshore. It almost seems like team manager they took first spot.
Yeah.
Not liking that.
No.
Take it back.
No, they are silent assassins, Arif and Nadir.
Very much so.
They kind of look through you a little bit, you know that they mean business. So 222 offshore have decided to come in. So we're looking at boat number 10, who are currently in second position with a 2:29 and 400ths of a second, coming in to presumably a propeller change.
I mean, that's interesting. They were looking pretty fast, so I wonder the reasoning for coming into the pontoon.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision, but I'm sure we will find out. The crew don't look particularly worried on shore, so we will see what happens there. HPI Racing Team, the boat number 96 of Rosario and Giuseppe, the brother team managed by their father. HPI Racing, the family run a marine supply and boating firm just out of the Naples region of Italy, and they are Mercury specialists as well. They're into their American things, and their boat reflects that. The only boat out there with a dug right hull, an American-made hull, and boy do they know how to pilot that XCAT. So Team GB have changed their propellers and they're back out. So we're going to see them do a sighting lap and then start the timing. And you can see that the conditions at the back end of the course are definitely slightly more disturbed than they are as you come towards this side of Lake Succio, which is interesting. Faz are now coming in, so we'll see what they do. They may well be happy enough with their result that they might just now wait in dock until they need to go for Q2.
Yeah, their fastest lap yesterday, 2:26.
Yeah.
So 2 seconds slower than yesterday.
Yeah.
But obviously the conditions are slightly different than yesterday's race.
Now I'm looking over at that cloud cover and I'm just trying to make out if there is rain coming from it. I don't know if your eyesight's any better than mine, John, but it looks like we might see rain as HPI come across the line.
No, 3 seconds slower than their fastest lap. Still in third position though.
Yeah. So they are making that third position their own, but they are trying to get better and better. Team GB are now coming across the line where we can start at the top stopwatch. You can see just how much of that XCAT comes out of the water. And away we go. The timing commences for boat number 8, Team GB. They will be hoping to better their previous time. They're currently bottom of that qualifying table.
Yeah, I'd imagine they're not very pleased with that, and they can definitely perform a lot better than 2 minute 37.
I would say so. So we're now into the last half hour of this 60-minute qualifying session. Just to give you a bit of insight from here, Faza are out of the boat and they're dragging it towards the crane. So I think we're probably looking at a propeller change for Faza rather than sitting and waiting for this qualifying session to be up. But we are with Team GB as they put in a fast lap. Just a reminder that they are currently 7th of 7 with a time of 2:37 for 675 hundredths of a second. There you go, for all you aficionados out there. But they're so far behind at the moment that doesn't really matter. But again, you can just see at the back of the course just how unsettled the water is down by the island of Viadju. I don't know if my pronunciation is correct, but you can go and stay there. There are hotels. You went to that island, didn't you, actually?
Indeed.
Yesterday or the day before.
Yes, some nice little cabins you can stay in. Amazing restaurants, amazing greenery, loads of animals walking around, a very friendly beagle, which we befriended. And also acts as a nice little reference point for us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And you can just see there, they've gone for the corner there. And the boat is quite unsettled, but it is the biggest and heaviest boat here, Team GB. It is very much designed for the waters of the rougher ilk, the kind of waters that you find around the United Kingdom, to be honest, in certain parts certainly. So they do very, very well on rough open water. This really, by the admittance of Martin and Scott, this really is not their venue, but they did finish third yesterday in the actual race on the podium, which is great for their championship hopes. So they are out there flying the flag for Great Britain. So they got on the podium for the King's birthday yesterday, I'm sure. For those royalists out there, that is something to celebrate, I'm sure. And they beat the Australians as well. So if you're into your cricket, the Ashes is going on as well. And maybe that trend will continue. But anyway, enough about cricket as HPI cross the line.
Yeah, a very, very slow lap. 3 minutes and 600th of a second.
Oh, Team GB have also just crossed the line, and a marginal improvement.
Yeah, still in last position. Speaking of championship hopes, might as well go through the championship overall. We have Team Faza in first position with 140 points. Hot on their heels, HPI Racing Team in second with 134, just a 6-point difference. Team GB currently last in pole position, but third in the championship overall, following their successes in Italy with 124 points. Team Pasta Amato in fourth with 84 points. QA Oils in fifth with 81. Team XCAT in sixth with 74 points, and 222 Offshore in last on the last spot with 57. Definitely not indicative of what they can put out there.
Yeah, it's crazy when you look at the performances that 222 Offshore have put in. You know, they qualified first, they qualified second. It's just when it gets to racing time, they just can't seem to get it over the line, which is a real shame for them. But maybe their fortunes will turn across the rest of today. Today is the second day of the Romanian Grand Prix. Remember, you can go back and watch all of the qualifying and all of the racing from not just here in Constanța on the coasts of the Black Sea. You can also go back and watch all the racing and qualifying from Fiumicino and the Basilicata, our first 2 Grand Prix of this 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship, all available on YouTube and on Facebook, which means you have to follow the official XCAT World Championship on your social media platform of choice so that you do not miss a single thing as we watch XCAT go across the line. No improvement in terms of their standing. They're still sat 4th, which would see them miss out on the second qualifying round, which will happen straight after this one with a 10-minute break. They are just shy of 200 of a second behind HPI though. So they are definitely here and definitely competitive.
I feel like Faza and 222 Offshore will probably be happy with their timings in Q1. So perhaps they might not even go back on the water. They've kind of cemented their position for Q2. So now it's more of a fight between HPI and XCAT for that 3rd spot and the spot in Q2.
Yeah, which is not something I thought we would say after the issue we saw yesterday. So it's an interesting turn up for the books. But we still have just shy of 25 minutes left of this qualifying session of Q1. We will see the 4 slowest boats being eliminated from qualifying. We take a 10-minute break and then we head into a 20-minute qualifying session where we will be subject to some incredibly tight qualifying pace, I think, and we will see who will take 1st, 2nd and 3rd position for the start of the 2nd race of the Romanian Grand Prix, which will happen later on this afternoon. Live from Romania, we are here on the Lake Suciol, on the shores of Lake Suciol, which is just north of the city of Constanța. We've been staying in the beautiful seaside resort of Mamaia, which I must say is incredible. The beaches on the Black Sea are insanely gorgeous, along with the rather palatable and fizzy beer, which we have been enjoying with our dinner in the evening. We were that sounds terrible. We had a traditional Romanian feast last night that was provided by the beautiful Hotel Scandinavia that we are staying alongside, and it was good. We've had a couple of traditional dishes, haven't we, John, while we've been out here? We've been out here since Wednesday, and we have managed to find ourselves some free time to go and experience Romanian culture, haven't we?
Absolutely, it's definitely worth putting on your bucket list of things to do and places to visit. Why not have a little swim in the Black Sea?
I think that's our plan for this evening, isn't it? Or tomorrow morning, is that what we're...
Yeah, I don't know, but the weather is looking like it's going to get pretty rough tonight. I don't know if it's worth...
It's definitely raining, folks, on the other side of the lake. I can see it on the town of Oviedo, which is on the other side of Lake Suciol, and it definitely looks like there is a sheet of rain incoming. Sorry to cut you off there, John, as we're talking about our what we've been doing. But this is one of the incredible things about and Team GB have just gone through the timing beacon there, and they have climbed to 5th with a 2:34.
So we have Faza in 1st position. Looks like just being pulled up by the crane. I don't imagine any propeller changes or anything, and they're just gonna go take a little chill pill for the time being. 222 Offshore also on the pontoon, probably waiting for their go at the crane. HPI Racing Team in 3rd, still out there. They are clocking a time of 3:27, looking very slow, struggling a little bit out there. XCAT in 4th, still out there, trying to clock in a better time, maybe grab that 3rd spot from HPI Racing Team. Team GB in 5th, Pasta Mato in 6th, and QA Oils in 7th.
So as this weather... Now I'm going to be obsessing about the weather, by the way.
As most English people do. That's a pretty standard topic of discussion, ain't it?
I mean, the weather in the UK is definitely a topic of discussion. We'll talk about it regularly. Let's lean into it and just say, you know, over a nice cup of tea. Yeah, the weather is particularly pertinent. It's sweeping across the other side of the water here. Now, whether it comes towards us and heads towards the coast is yet to be seen, but you can see there on your screens well, not anymore because we're back to this side of Lake Sucho, but we're about to see XCAT go across the timing beacon, and they don't better their time, but they're so close to bettering their time.
So close. They're going to keep going for it.
Yeah, I think so. HPI are just about a second and a bit, 1.4 seconds ahead of them in third place at the moment, and it is that third place that is all important as you head into the second qualifying session, Q2, which is separated from Q1 by a 10-minute break. Q2, 20 minutes long. You cannot change propellers in Q2, but Team GB, nice and flat, really nice and flat.
Yeah, they look
across
pretty
the timing
good.
beacon, and they've beaten their time by 2 seconds, so they are now only 1/100th of a second behind XCAT in 5th.
Yeah, no change in the overall standings, but it seems like they've nailed it down. The water does look slightly flatter than earlier on in the session, and Faz's boat is actually being put back into the water. I wonder if Arif and Nadir are going to go out for, if they want to be the fastest of the law. It seems like they want to just keep beating their own time constantly.
Yeah. I mean, if that doesn't describe competitiveness to you, I genuinely don't know what does. And I'm just looking at that rain kind of sweeping across the back there. It's now right in front of us. I think we're going to miss the rain, but it's definitely looking pretty dangerous weather-wise on the other side. But XCAT are out there. But you're right, it definitely looks a lot flatter, it definitely looks a lot more settled. So it could be that the pressure system bringing that weather front in was unsettling the lake, and now that has crossed, because I can feel the winds died right down, that means that the water is calmer again, and it is considerably calmer, as HPI are crossing the line in front of us with no real improvement.
3 minutes and 12 seconds, I wonder what's going on there. They were super competitive throughout the whole even at pole yesterday and in the race. They have clocked in the second fastest time at the start of this pole, but are getting progressively slower.
Yep. So any number of reasons potentially. It could just be that they're just using up fuel to make the boat lighter for the second qualifying session. But XCAT are about to come across the timing line, and no improvement. No improvement there to bring them across. But they're in the 2:32s kind of complete regularly now. And again, bearing in mind, yesterday they didn't actually manage to finish their qualifying session. They essentially popped their fuel line kind of halfway round, and that was the end of that. And they finished stone cold last, which is a position currently being filled by boat number 17, Q8 Oils. They had a 2:35. And Q8 Oils don't look like they are going to be competing any further in this qualifying session, so you can take them off your list if you have Q8 Oils on your sweepstake. But we've got Team GB out there now, sensing that they could possibly make it into Q2, but as you said, it might not be the best for them. Maybe you want to hang back and see what happens. But HPI, let's see if they manage to get themselves slightly further up the table. We have Pasta Amato that have just gone past the timing beacon with a 2:36, nearly a 2:37, so nowhere near their best time of 2:35. They are going to have to scrub at least 3 seconds off the time if they want to move from 6th to 5th. But Pasta Amato are unfortunately not managing to find themselves any further up the timings, but we will see.
So with 15 minutes to go for Q1 of this second pole position session for race 2 of the Grand Prix of Romania, we have Faza in first place, looking comfortably up front. But 222 offshore in a second position, hot on their heels. HPI Racing Team in third, who have just passed the timing beacon. They did not manage to beat their original time.
No,
slower by 500ths of a second.
And their strobe light is on. They're coming around the buoy at the end there. Their qualifying session is done. They feel they can't do any more because they've done their propeller change, I believe, and so there's not much more they can do.
Yeah.
Have they done their propeller change? I don't know if they have actually. None of their crew are on the. We'll see. We'll see. We'll bring you that. XCAT have just come across the line. Another 2:32 was their time earlier. So the stopwatch is now going, and they are coming back in. Okay, never mind. They've decided that they've had enough, and they are coming back in. 222 offshore. Look like they're going to head back out now that some of the traffic is gone. So Giovanni and Darren are going to head back out and see if they can scrub a little bit more time off of their best lap. Team GB are crossing the timing beacon. See if they have an improvement. So this is going to be a fast lap from them, or they're hoping that it'll be a fast lap. So we shall see how Martin and Scott do out there.
I'm glad to see that 222 offshore is going out again, trying to beat Faz's time. Obviously, the turn at F1, F2, as you mentioned, Faza a lot more maneuverable than 222 offshore. So actually, pole is super important for them. Keeping that in mind, their boat is so much more trickier to maneuver.
Yeah, it really is. And when you look at how they took the lead off the start yesterday, if they could have kept that going, it could have been a very different story. So we just see boat number 22, Pasta Amato, now coming in as well. But there you can see the grey skies just on the other side of the lake there, which could end up meaning a very different set of conditions this afternoon. But time will tell. Remember to join us 15:30 local time for the second race of this Romanian Grand Prix. Team GB with a pretty solid turn there. That was well done from Martin and Scott. Turning that boat is really the differentiator. They were losing up to 3 seconds yesterday. So, but physics are physics. They just can't turn a boat that's way bigger than say Faz's any quicker than it will turn. So we shall have to see how they do. But there we see just the rooster tail as they head towards the chicane, and they're then going to head down for the final turn. Now heading along quite a long straight, and it's going to be Foxtrot 1, Foxtrot 2, the buoy around there. There we go. So as you can see, really wide line compared to say Faza, who really are the world leaders when it comes to turning an XCAT boat, if I'm honest with you. But they carried a lot of speed through there, which is fantastic. They're now on the final straight, so it's a drag race now down the coast, nice and flat, just enough of the boat out of the water. Can they improve? Ever so slightly, but not enough to make a difference to the standings. So I suspect that will be their qualifying race run. We're just about to head into the final 10 minutes, and as suspected, they have just turned the boys at the end and they're coming back in.
A very tiny difference between Team GP currently in 5th position and XCAT in 4th, 100th of a second. But yeah, gave it a roll. Maybe it's time to call it a day.
Yeah, I think so. We've also just seen XCAT, the hatch is open on the top of the cockpit, so I think XCAT are also calling it a day, but a great improvement there from the Swedes. The team based in Sweden. Now we've got a Norwegian and a Swede in there, Eric and Seba. Great team. They haven't had a great amount of running with each other, so any minutes in the cockpit with each other is great as they learn just how to just had to race with each other. Seba, his job, as he said to me yesterday, basically he just puts the throttle straight down and lets Eric do his thing. A great amount of trust between each other and the teams. And talking of trust in the teams, you've got Darren and Giovanni in the cockpit there, who are really, they've been racing together since 2018, I believe. So they've known each other a long, long time, and we're going to see if they can improve their 2:29 to bring them above Fazer. They're currently in second position. I'd say they're relatively safe in terms of heading through to Q2, which will happen directly after this session with a 10-minute break, where John and I will go and try and find a sandwich or a biscuit, and you should do the same at home. Good chance to put the kettle on and have a coffee. 222 offshore there, recognisable by the Rocco Barocco written along the side. And HPI are also out of the boat. Sorry,
I'm actually very, very excited to see them going in for their timed lap. Looking very, very confident. And yeah, let's see if they can beat Faz's time.
So here we go, down the home straight. They've gone past the final buoy, which is a really, really tight corner at the back end of the course there. So they're now on that drag race, as I say, down the course, right along the coast there, right in front of us. They're about to pass us here, and the timing buoys. Here we go. Nope, no improvement. That was a sighting lap. Wow. Yep. They were going so fast that I forgot that they were doing a sighting lap.
So as it stands, we do have Fazer in first position, 222 offshore, who have now started their timing lap in second. Let's see if they can beat Fazer's time. Fazer's still in the pontoon as we speak. HPI Racing Team in third, who have made their way onto the pontoon.
And Pastramato just heading out, sorry mate.
Team XCAT in fourth, Team GB in fifth, Pastramato in sixth, and QA Oils in seventh, who I think just had enough of racing for the day, and will just head into the actual race later on in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think so. But we do currently have 222 offshore out there on a hot lap. So they are going to be hopeful topping Fazer off top spot. I've got to say, it's a big, big ask, but if anyone can do it, it's probably them. They pushed Fazer so close yesterday in qualifying, and the first 2 laps of yesterday's race before they suffered a mechanical failure. They were leading the race yesterday for a short period of time, but we have Darren Nicholson and Giovanni Carpetella are out on the water here, Lake Sucho, just north of Constanța in eastern Romania, on the banks of the Black Sea.
So let's have a look at the last turn before they enter the home straight at FF1, F2. What do you expect? Do you expect a really wide turn?
Yeah, that boat is not capable of doing the tight turn that it needs. As you can see there, they're heading towards a tight turn. Oh, they're coming quite close to the buoy, but I would say they are some distance from where Fazer would have found themselves, but they get back on the power so quickly. Looking straight. Looking
they're
stable.
Looking stable, yeah. 225, 226, 227.
Oh.
I mean, they beat their own time.
Yeah.
2 minutes 29 300ths of a second, but not fast enough to catch up with Fazer.
No. But as we head into the second qualifying session, which will be in around about 15 minutes time from the point of me speaking right now, they go again. And so we will have to see how all of the guys perform. Fazer have been moved to the front of the pontoon here to see and be ready for the next session. But we have Pasta Amato, boat number 22, Alfredo Amato and Luca Betti. They are out there on the water now, looking to set a slightly more competitive time. They're currently in 6th position with a 2:35 and a sniff as they head over. And we also have XCAT out on the water. A much improved performance compared to yesterday. Maybe they fancy their chances as we head into the final 5 minutes of this Q1 session, which would be pretty impressive. But we shall see how they do. A little bit of a bobble at the back end of the course, and see how they do. As in the background we have Pasta Amato setting the timer off, going into what they will hope will be a stonkingly quick lap. But we have great turn from Eric and Sebastian there. Really tight turn.
I bet Team HPI is currently biting their nails.
Yeah.
Checking out how XCAT are going to perform
Another great
in these
turn.
next 2 time laps.
So it's Eric behind the wheel there. Eric Sundblad Johansson, Norwegian of great experience, and I must say, piloting this Swedish XCAT boat with extraordinary precision. As Sebastian Grote there is on the power, and as he says himself, just basically push it forward and hope for the best, which I think is a fairly good motto in life. And they are going to be hoping to knock HPI Racing, boat number 96, they're going to be hoping to knock them out of that 3rd position. They're not a million miles away, so here's hoping for their sake that they can make it onto the 3rd position, meaning they go into the Q2 session.
And 222 offshore, lining up in the pontoon to get ready for Q2. And XCAT has just started their first, their timed lap. Let's see if they can beat HPI's racing team's times.
So we saw there from the lap that they've just completed, or the sighting lap, that they've really got those turnings down just by the island of Ovidiu. I say it different every time. Beagle Island.
I like that. Let's call it Beagle Island.
Oh well, yeah. No, it's a wonderful place. Make sure you Google it. But there is the possibility of last-minute drama here at the 2nd qualifying sessions of the Romanian Grand Prix. The first time that we have arrived here in Romania with this class of powerboats. So this part of the world no stranger to powerboating, but they want to grow the sport here, which is why the XCAT has arrived.
Pasta Amato there took a very wide turn. Almost seemed like they lost a little bit of control. And yep, not a very fast one. 2 minutes 38 seconds, still in 6th position. So far for pole position 2, we have Faza in 1st place, 222 offshore in 2nd, and HPI Racing Team. So for now, that makes the 3 teams that will participate in Q2 in the 2nd session for pole position 2 in about, as you say, about 12 minutes time. XCAT in 4th, who have started clocking in a timed lap, hoping to steal that 3rd position from HPI. Team GB in 5th, Pasta Amato in 6th, and QA Oils in 7th.
Big destabilisation of that XCAT there, which may well have cost them the opportunity to better their time and take 3rd spot from HPI, and a big, I mean, almost disappearing behind the tree there. That is a very wide timing. And they've come right off the throttle there. Yeah, I think that is them done. That is a shame because they were on a real flyer there, but I suspect that might be them done as they come across the timing line now, and we shall see.
They did manage to shave off a bit of time from their previous lap, but are going straight into another timed lap.
Yeah, well, they do have time for possibly another 2 laps if they choose to do so. We've got 1 minute and 39 seconds remaining of this first session of the 2nd qualifying race of the 2023 Romanian Grand Prix. We're here, this is our 2nd day of action on Lake Suceava. Just on the banks of Mamaia, north of the city of Constanța. And I have none of that written down. It's all in my brain. And we are seeing, as is often the case, a really really tight qualifying session as they head around. So XCAT are going to be hoping for a nudge of a performance to take them into third place. But just as it stands at the moment, we have boat number 3, Faza, in first, 222 offshore, boat number 10 of Darren and Giovanni. Number 96, boat number 96 in third position, HPI Racing Team. In fourth, we have XCAT, who are out there currently trying to better their time. We have Team GB in fifth. Pasta Amato, who we can see there, boat number 22 of Alfredo and Luca, are about to pass the timing gates now, and no improvement. They are really not having a good weekend, if I'm being brutally honest. And then Q8 Oils, boat number 17, they are out of the water. They decided early on that they were not going to be competitive for whatever reason, be it setup, damage, or mechanical issue out there, which is a shame because it's a really successful boat. They finished on the podium in Basilicata in the last race of the season, and we've got ourselves an interesting set of results that could come up. So let's see how we do.
So basically these are the last timing laps. The whistle has gone. So let's see if Pasta Amato and XCAT, the only boats currently out on the water, will be able to clock in a faster time. XCAT should be approaching shortly. Did not manage to beat HPI Racing's team, so they remain in fourth position. So I guess that's it for Q1. We have Faza, 222 Offshore, and HPI Racing team heading for Q2 in about 10 minutes time.
Yeah. So we will see you in 10 minutes. Go and grab yourself a sandwich, a coffee, a biscuit, do whatever you need to do. We will see you in 10 minutes for Q2 of this 2023 Romanian Grand Prix, the second day here, where the top 3 will be decided as we head into the second race here in Constanța. Welcome back everybody for the second qualifying session, Q2 of the second day here on Lake Shootout, the beautiful city of Constanța, on the eastern side of Romania, along the banks of the Black Sea. And if you missed what happened earlier, we had all 7 boats heading out and competing to find themselves where we are right now, which is the top 3 shootout. The defining moment, 20 minutes of hotly contested lap timing between Faza 222 Offshore and HPI Racing Team to see who will be on pole for the race later on this afternoon. No propeller changes at this moment in time. Propeller changes were only allowed during the first 60 minutes of this qualifying session, and propeller changes allow the teams to change the rake of the blades, maybe even the number of blades on their propeller, and it's all about increasing or reducing drag in the water. So if it's nice flat water, you want the minimum amount of drag from your propeller blades in order to increase your speed. It does affect handling, but when the water is flat and you don't have to worry about the boat going left, right, up and down, the pitch and the yaw, then you don't have to worry so much about what your propeller blades are doing or even how many there are. Whereas if the water is disturbed or there's big swells, then your propeller, or propellers in this case, because you have 2, one each on the Mercury RS engines, you need them to give you a little bit more stability and a little bit more control. So that is why we see propeller changes throughout the course of qualifying and ahead of a race as well. So we're going to see 3 of the boats heading out there. I'm joined once again to my left hand side, his right hand side. I'm on your right, aren't I, John? Joined by John as we head into this Q2 session.
Hello, welcome back everybody. So yeah, session 2, 20 minutes duration. Again, no lap limitation. No propeller changes as mentioned by Stu. And to be entitled to get a time lap, the racing boat must start within 10 minutes from the green flag, which I believe has not been raised as of yet. It has just been raised, just as I said. And yeah, this
was uncanny.
I know, right? And this session will define the first gate. So the 3 fastest boats, namely Faza, helmed by Nadir bin Hendi and Arif Al Zafine, HPI Racing Team with Rosario and Giuseppe Schiano di Cola, and 222 Offshore, helmed by Darren Nicholson and Giovanni Capitella, will be slowly making their way onto the muster area, basically assembly area.
Absolutely, and they are heading out. You can probably hear it through our microphones. That is HPI Racing Italia. They are heading out, looking to improve from their last time round. They were 3rd as we head into this Q2 session. They also finished 3rd yesterday in the qualifying session, but during the race itself managed to finish 2nd with some really tight racing. So they are holding quite high hopes. The water has calmed slightly. The weather front that we were talking about in Q1 has passed over our heads. We did not see any rain, but we have had a weather report come through, weather warning, where potentially the winds between now and about 1 or 2 o'clock are potentially going to be pretty high, with a chance of rain, maybe even hail, I believe as well. So doubtful. I think it's probably just the weather people being a little bit more cautious than otherwise, but we will see what happens out there on the water. But as I say, it looks much calmer than it did around about 40 minutes ago. So what does that mean? That means that it will play potentially into the hands of Team Faza. Faza's boat is smaller by 2 meters than most of its compatriots. There is a minimum length and width that these boats, these XCATs, can be by regulation to maintain competitiveness, but Faza pushed that right to the limit. It is a boat designed for calmer waters. The smaller and lighter the boat, the faster it is on flat water, the heavier, the longer it is, the better it is on the open water with rough seas, and that is why you see the difference of performances depending where we are in the world. And of course, this championship is a world championship. We have representation on the water from all three corners of the globe, which is fantastic. We have 3 continents represented here, and we go to multiple destinations. This is our second destination of the year. We were in Italy earlier this year. We're now here in Romania, and then we head off to the Middle East as the boats head to the United Arab Emirates. And we now see Faza, talking of United Arab Emirates, heading out off the pontoon, while HPI Racing are doing their sighting lap. So they have joined the circuit. The way that it works is you leave the pontoon, you enter through the designated area. The area that is designated is given to all the teams prior to the race weekend by the head and race director. It's a pretty short, sharp and to the point meeting, all revolving around safety, because safety is our paramount concern. I'm going to make sure that everybody races fairly and safely. The teams will then do a sighting lap, as we are watching now. That is what HPI are doing. And they then head around the final straight. They will then go through the timing buoys that are located in front of our commentary booth here, at which point the stop clock is started. They go through the laser beams, and we can then tell you if Rosario and Giuseppe Ciano de Cola do better than before. So here we go through the timing beacons, and we shall see how they do.
Yep, they did manage to clock the second fastest time, the third fastest time in the earlier session, but got progressively slower throughout. Maybe the conditions did not favor them, or maybe they just got a little bit worn out. But yeah, the fight to watch, obviously Faza v 222 Offshore is the one to keep in mind.
Yep, and Faza finished on pole yesterday. They also won the race yesterday. They are our championship leaders as we headed into this weekend, which is the midpoint of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. So whilst nothing is decided this weekend, we won't leave here with a champion. We will have a much better idea about how the championship race is forming. So Faza, you can see there, even compared to HPI, they bounce so much more because they're so much lighter, especially at slower speeds, and they'll be hoping that the wind stays relatively calm. We've just felt a little breeze coming through there, but I'm fairly confident that that will not persist. It's very, very warm here in Constanza. It's been a very warm couple of days actually, making it rather humid and dare I say it, somewhat uncomfortable for us, John.
It is, but at least we have some good racing to keep us company, so you can take your mind off the blistering heat in the commentator's box. So the 3 teams currently out on the water. We have Faza. They are first in the championship overall with 140 points. HPI Racing Team also out on the water with 134, and 222 Offshore currently in last position in the overall championship standings, but definitely not indicative of what Giovanni and Darren can do.
No, absolutely not. You've got 222 Offshore who have regularly qualified in the top 2, but when it comes to race time, they just are struck down by things out of their control, which does mean that they are smack bang last. But we've got HPI Racing about to go through the timing beacons shortly, and we have a time, John.
Yep, 2 minutes, 31 seconds and 400ths of a second. Pretty good. Very similar to their timing posted in Q1 for this pole position session for the second race for the Romanian GP. Faza, yeah, haven't decided whether to enter their time lap yet. Probably taking a sailing lap for now.
Yeah, still just leaning into what will be a crucial 5 or 6 minutes. They do have to post a quick lap within the first half of this 20-minute session. Otherwise, they will be excluded, and that is the last thing that anybody wants. Got to say, this championship, throughout the course of the year so far, has been raced really fairly. We've had no issues with scrutineers, and everyone has been staying together and working and playing together really nicely. We are a little family when we travel. We all stay in similar hotels or the same hotel. We all eat together. And Faza are going through the timing beacon now.
222 offshore as well, picking up the pace. I imagine they'll go through the timing beacons shortly for their own first timed lap.
And
looking relatively tight in that corner.
yeah,
We've seen it wider, so pretty good handling on behalf of Giovanni and Darren.
and on a course such as this, it really does come down to how tightly you can corner around the circuit.
Interesting developments. HPI has come into the pontoon after one timed lap.
Yeah, so hatch is open. It could just be that they're going to wait for a little bit, let the dust settle, and go back out. They can't change their propeller, as we've previously mentioned, and they have a time of 2:31 and 400ths of a second, which they may feel they just can't really beat. You know, this is our fourth session of qualifying now, split between two pole position qualifying races, if you like. And
well, I mean, they have cemented their position up front, so not much to lose. They will be up there with 222 and Faza. And 222 has just gone through the timing beacons, starting their first time lap for this session.
so 222 offshore are going to be putting their best foot forward and seeing if they can do what they didn't manage yesterday. They pushed Faza really close. At one point they were less than a second behind them in the qualifying session, just for Faza to come out and blow their own time away by 2 further seconds. Giuseppe and Rosario are out of boat 96 and back on dry land. So we shall see what's going on there. They are in conversation with a UIM official who is now entering the boat, and we'll try and find out what that's about later on. And Faza have gone through the timing beacon. Whoa, okay.
2 minutes, 26 seconds and 800th of a second. I don't think that was faster than the first session, but very, very close.
Yeah, very, very close. It's so close as near damn it, but it's a hard time to beat. Nobody beat their 2:26 yesterday. No one beat their 2:27 yesterday. So they have set an equal to fastest time. HPI is being dragged towards the end of the pontoon that we can see from here, just as an FYI. It looks like their race has been run. They might have just decided internally that they can't do it.
222 looking super steady,
Really steady there.
gliding over the water.
It's serene. It belays the real speed. You look at that and you wouldn't think that they're doing just over 100 kilometers an hour at points. You know, they're running at 80, 90 miles an hour if you're watching this using the Imperial system.
Well, actually, in yesterday's race, Team Faza clocked in an average of 155.43 kilometers per hour.
That is so much speed.
And 222, on the home straight, they're looking very fast.
Oh!
And Giovanni and Darren managed to beat Faza's time, 2 minutes, 26 seconds and 600th of a second.
That's 200ths of a second faster than Faza. That is so close. And to give you an idea, they have beaten their time from yesterday by 2 seconds. And when you look at the water, you look how flat it is, you look at how Faza perform on flat water with a circuit with super tight cornering, you would kind of have to say this is for them. This is, and we saw that yesterday. But 222 offshore, Darren Nicholson and Giovanni Carpitella have just taken the lead in this qualifying session. They are currently on provisional pole as we now see Faza coming through the timing beacon.
We're gonna beat it.
And Faza have just beaten the time by another hundredths of a second. There is a hundredth of a second in between 222 offshore and Faza. So 222 offshore took the lead, and now Faza have just taken it straight back with a time of 2 minutes 26 564 hundredths of a second to 222 offshore's 617 hundredths of a second. What a qualifying wheel watching, John.
Yeah, we can actually hear the team managers basically standing on the right hand side of the commentator's box, kind of having a little bit of a shouting session as Faza passed by the clocked in that time.
Oh my word, that is exciting stuff. I mean, powerboating at its absolute pinnacle here. That is really showing everybody how it can be done. Wow, 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 wow.
I feel like Faza is kind of waiting basically on the water. Is 222 gonna try beat that time? Do we have to go out there once more, or you're right with that?
I think 222 are gonna give it another go. We can see Faza there have just pulled right back on the throttle and decided that they're going to give it a bit of a break. But we do have 222 offshore are now...
They beat it!
Oh my word! 222 offshore have just gone through at 2 minutes 26 and 100th of a second. They have beaten Faza's time by 400ths of a second. They've knocked a further 500ths of a second off their time previously. Oh my word! Oh my word! Oh my word! These are a boat and a crew who yesterday couldn't complete the race because of an oil sump issue in their Mercury ROS engines, but they have just come through to beat Faza as it stands at the moment at their own game on a short circuit with flat water. They have no right to handle that XCAT like that.
Yeah, and actually, beyond that, is the fastest lap clocked so far in this Grand Prix of Romania for the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship.
Oh my word. This is, you're watching this at home, this is an absolute how to do it. So tight, so close, absolutely unbelievable. And you can look at them there. It looks like they've got a big smile on the front of their boat there.
Yeah, quite a lot of swagger coming from that boat, eh?
The boat's open. I mean, just shows how warm it is in there. Yeah. That they've opened the hatch straight away. But oh my word, that is incredible.
So far we have 222 offshore in first position on pole with 2 minutes 26 seconds and 100th of a second. Faza in second position with 2 minutes 26 and 500th of a second. And HPI Racing Team in third with 2:31 400th of a second. And Faza is entering another time lap.
They're not having this.
It doesn't get more competitive.
They're not having this at all, John. So HPI have been lifted out of the water, so they are out of contention. It is a straight shootout. It is a Mexican standoff. It is a romantic rumble in Romania between 222 offshore and Faza. This is going to be I am absolutely flabbergasted that Faza have decided to go for it again. Faza would have to knock over 400ths of a second off what has already been their best time of the weekend. And it's going to come from the corners. So let's see how they do.
I'm super curious. Obviously, the fastest time clocked in by 222 offshore for the weekend so far. Faza, big favourites to win the championship, currently in first position in the standings overall, and they are known as the Legends.
They are 2021 world champions.
Exactly, and having been involved in powerboat racing of some sort since the 90s,
And Arif really is one of the best out there at turning a boat, and Nadir really is one of the best out there at giving him the power that he needs. It's an incredible duo. Arif is incredible at what he does, as is Nadir. And make sure you do follow the XCAT World Championship on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and TikTok to keep up with all the latest news and stories and results from this 2023 World Championship, where we have lots of interviews, behind the scenes footage, and the teams going into more depth about what it's like to compete in this elite level of water-based sports.
Oh, they're looking.
They've done it. No, that's got to be it. That was a bit of a miscalculation. What a turn there, though. But I just think they just scrubbed off a little bit too much speed. But you never know. I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. And they're heading.
This is where we hold our breath as they pass. They might beat it.
They might beat it. They might beat it. 223, 224, 225. No, they haven't. They haven't. And that's got to be it. There's only 1 minute and 30 remaining.
Fair play to Faza. It seemed like they came with a lot of speed right there, where they kind of lost the control of the boat.
That was that. It just goes to show that it is the small amount of errors, just minute details, that make a huge difference to what happens. But they're still out there. They're still out there.
Oh, they've gone in for another time lapse.
It looks like it. We were writing them off already. Never write off Faza. Write off Faza at your peril. They are going for it. And John and I are stunned into silence here.
They're looking very steady, gliding out of the water.
Oh, that was a great turnaround.
Great turn.
I think that was Charlie. And away they go. Team manager.
Looking very pensive, but quietly confident.
Yeah. Oh, a slight error there, I think. They're coming down. Just, oh, look at that. Just, you can see where they've just come off the power there, dropping the boat back into the water to maximise friction. What a turn. And what that does is that slows the boat, gives them maximum control, allowing them to make those turns. And that's, if you're watching at home, something to look out for. Just when you pull the power off, because you can see just all the way back to the Emirati flag, that hull is out of the water. And back down again, you see there, they've just taken off the power. Turning right, and they've bogged down in exactly the same place again. It could just be that there is a slight swell in the water over there. It could just be, because that's quite, there might be even just the depth of the lake might be ever so slightly shallower there, giving a bit of a swell.
It's a bit of an interesting one though, Shu, because that last corner, F1, F2, usually Faza takes it super close to the buoy, but very wide. Now let's see.
They've done it! 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 They have just wiped out 222 offshore. They have broken the 2-minute 26 barrier with 2:25 and 900ths of a second. They have just gone through the checkered flag. They have taken top spot from boat number 10, and that is incredible. What a performance that has been from Faza. And what did we say? Write them off at your peril. That was it. What an incredible performance. And that's the end of qualifying. But what did we think of that?
Incredible, absolutely incredible. The fastest time lap goes to Faza. As I said, 2 minutes 25 seconds, 900th of a second. And yeah, now we're off to an exciting race in a few hours' time.
What that shows is that 222 offshore are there and ready to push for this race later on this afternoon. So just a reminder, Faza are fastest, 222 offshore in second, HPI will line up in third. And then in the second gate we have XCAT a remarkable Phoenix story there, rising from the ashes yesterday. Team GB will start in 5th, Pasta Amato will start in 6th, QA Oils will start in 7th, and unfortunately we had a couple of boats that didn't make it to the starting line. So there we have it. Thank you very, very much for joining us for this, the second qualifying session of the Romanian Grand Prix, the midpoint of the 2023 UIM XCAT World Championship. Remember to follow us on your social media platform of choice so that you do not miss the racing live, due to take off at 15:30 local time here in Constanța. But thank you very much to you at home. Thank you very much to John for his stellar work here. And of course, thank you very much to each and every one of the crews that have made this qualifying session what it is. So make sure you come back in a few hours' time, where we will bring you the second race of this Romanian Grand Prix.
Even die Bahn, ja?